So it's Chelsea versus Man City at the weekend in what is a massive game for both clubs. And we're going to debate who needs it more. We have Jordan, our resident Chelsea fan, Jamie, our resident City fan. So let's start with you, Jordan. Why did Chelsea need this more?
Listen, it's crunch time, it's Champions League time, and we need to be in it. It's that simple. City, you can say they're in the title race, this and that. Their spot secured for the Champions League, right? That's where the biggest clubs in the world need to be. And for me, this game now, every game's a cup final. I know it's generic and I know everyone says it, but we are currently in sixth place. So there is a genuine possibility right now, every game we drop points puts us one step closer back in the bloody Conference League where we really don't want to be, with all due respect. So our last seven games are basically cup finals, and I think we need it more because City have already put their place in the Champions League. We haven't. We've got this badge on our shirt, if you can see it, and if that means something, the biggest clubs in the world need to be in the biggest competitions. So yeah, that's why we need it more.
Jamie, why does City need this result more?
Well, quite plain and simple. Jordan, you're looking for Champions League spots. We're going for the glory. We want that trophy. We need to stop Arsenal. As Chelsea fans can probably admit, they don't want Arsenal winning the title. And the only team that's going to stop them is City. So by us winning the game, putting us closer to sort of giving us the 3 points that probably Arsenal will get themselves on the weekend, means we're still in the same points gap before we get to play Arsenal at the Etihad. So we really have to win every game if we're going to win the league. And even that might not be enough. So you've had your chance, and the problem is you've got 5 places now. It's not a top four battle anymore, where it's even harder for you. It's top five, and really, you've blown it in that sort of way. So you got to remember the title is what we're all here for. In 5 years' time, you're not going to remember coming fifth in the league because you beat City, where I will remember City winning the league from it. So it's so much more important for City in that one. I do want to counter on your sort of saying with the top five, like the top five. You got to remember you've got to play two of them teams above you, the teams who are fighting for after as well. So you've still got lots to impact on your Champions League spot. Whereas we have to win all our games. Like I said, it's only one game we've got against Arsenal. You've still got to play United, and you've still got to play Liverpool. They're the huge games where you must win. It's not against us.
Yeah, but you got every game's a cup final. You got to start somewhere, right? Also, City, look, you're just getting greedy, right? You've already won a trophy. You've already spoiled Arsenal's apparent quadruple party. You've got an FA Cup semi against a championship side. You're basically guaranteed in the final already. I think just let Arsenal have the league, you know?
People thought Arsenal were guaranteed the semi-final. Look what happened.
True.
So
Yeah,
it,
that's true.
it can be. It can be not like that.
So both sides haven't won in their last two league games. Okay, Chelsea losing two, of course, City drawing two. Um, where do Chelsea go for this tactically? Who are the key players? How do they win this game? Because I agree with their fixture list. It's tough. They have to get a result here to avoid falling behind Liverpool, who also have a tough run in. What do Chelsea have to do to get a result?
I actually think we've got to be aggressive. And I know it's easy to say, "Oh, City have a good attack, sit back." Like we've shown this season, we can't sit back, right? We've shown our defense has not been good enough. And I think the big thing that City have shown is their defense isn't good enough either. So for me, it's whoever attacks the most, whoever creates the most chances, will win the game. I know that's a little bit sounds a bit obvious, but I think we need to get on the front foot early, get into Man City, rattle them defensively, try and put them on the back foot, get the crowd behind. And I think that's the only chance we've got. I think if we let them pass us to death, and we know Haaland will get one chance and put it in the net, right? So I think we need to be aggressive is the short answer.
I
Jamie,
think you have to.
what's City's approach to this game?
Sorry, just back, just
Yep.
quickly, but on Chelsea, there is like one thing else is sort of like You got to remember, you lot probably don't care about this game that much. You're suspending your own players. Enzo cannot play against City by your own rules. It's not a yellow card or a red card. You don't want this. You don't need to worry about it. Just play a few of your kids, get them to have some experience, so you can sell them on in the summer, so you can make a bit of money in that.
I'm at peace with it. I'm at peace with it, man. Arsenal, look, the quadruple. We've enjoyed the downfall. Arsenal are being gassed up as the best team in the world. Blah blah blah. Back down to reality. We've seen them be humbled now. They can only win 2 trophies. That's enough for me. I've seen a bit of decline. They've been knocked off a little bit of that pedestal. So now we just have to win. I'm not one of those fans who want us to drop points to Man City to stop Arsenal. Like you gotta sort yourself out first before looking outside of you. And if we lose this game, I can't make an argument for us getting top 5 because you got Liverpool been terrible, by the way, and Liverpool are still ahead of us, right? Villa are declining, but Villa are what, 6 points still? So like we literally need this win. We need the points. We can't afford to leave this game with 0 points and have 6 games left. When you've got Villa and Liverpool who could probably win their games, and then we're almost out of sight before we even get into those crunch games. So I think we got to be selfish. Can't worry about Arsenal and City, and just go for it.
Where does it leave Chelsea though, Jord, if they don't get a result in this game? Because with pre-tax losses of £262 million, they've got to fill that hole. And I
Yeah.
think it could be, you could argue, is it catastrophic if they don't qualify? I think the owners are very astute, by the way. I think they're very smart. So I don't think they're in any issues. But could this lead to players being sold, for example? Is this the potential of a knock-on effect that this game has, especially if Liverpool and Villa get results?
Yeah, that's why we need this game more, actually, Jamie, because we're going to go bankrupt if we lose. um, no, I think the 260 odd million losses. I've said this before. You know, this isn't The Apprentice. This is football, right? We're not here to go. Who's made a nice balance sheet? Arsenal did that for years. Didn't get them anywhere. Now you've spent money and now you're doing well. Like that's just one example of many, right? But I think if it does impact us in the next 2 3 years, then it becomes an issue. But there's a lot of, a big part of that was obviously like agent fees and stuff. And again, Simon Jordan kind of did a little bit of a piece on it for those who've seen it. But basically, I wouldn't get too carried away with those losses at this stage. If it's something that continues, then absolutely it can be a concern. But again, you're looking, we've done record player sales in the summer. Like there's other positives on the balance sheet. But as you said, and I said at the start, we need to be in the Champions League because suddenly you then lose the revenue, you lose the exposure, you lose the brand equity, you lose all of that stuff. So it is make or break for us. And this game aside, not getting Champions League would be a catastrophic failure and a catastrophic sign that this project needs realignment, readjusting. Because you cannot sit here and say this project's working if we fail to get Champions League football. You can't. There's no argument.
Well, you say with the sort of bankrupt stuff, you also have a transfer ban come in as well. And that's because you're convicted cheats, Jordan. So you don't deserve anything. You don't deserve these 3 points. You should be handing trophies back. This is what I hear on a daily basis. So you've been convicted. So why not? Why not give them all back? So you don't deserve the 3 points. You might need it for your own sanity, but for the good of football, a convicted cheat shouldn't be winning games, should they? Shouldn't be in the Champions League either.
You sound like an Arsenal fan now.
Oh,
So,
I'm saying exactly what I've heard for years with the 115. So,
so surely it adds to it, Jamie, and that City must be coming to this oozing with confidence because there's a lot of outside talk around Chelsea at the moment. Obviously, Enzo is, well, suspended by the club themselves. Um, I suppose that's probably not the right wording, but City must be confident of this. You must be confident of this because this is a great opportunity to close that gap.
yes and no. So obviously the winning the Carabao Cup final was a very good performance, especially the second half, and then the 4-0 win against Liverpool. especially after coming back off international break, you sometimes go, how are players going to return? Because you had that win, you kind of wanted to play the next game quite quickly to keep that momentum going, and then it was kind of all lost because of the international break. But they come back and a 4-0 win against Liverpool. 30 odd minutes, Liverpool were very good. I thought they were the better team. And then we scored, and then we dominated the rest of the game. So we have very good momentum going into this, I'd say. But this side, like I've sort of said all season, is we're not the same side of old, where actually we would be on a, this could be the start of us winning a, 10, 15 game win streak. I don't see that happening with the City side, and on paper, this is definitely the hardest game we've got left. So that's why I'm not fully confident. And we've got Arsenal coming up in a week. It's sort of like, are people thinking about the Arsenal game and forgetting about this one where we shouldn't be? So I'm not fully confident at the moment. Everything points to looking at City as favourites. Like if we're at home, I generally would be very confident, but away from home, I can't be. Even though the record between us recently is we've not lost in 9 against Chelsea. So I'd like to make that 10. So that's another reason why I want us to do it. 10's a nice, good number. Maybe 11 if we meet in the FA Cup final. But, it might be Leeds instead, hopefully. But I can't say I'm fully confident because Chelsea turn up more in these bigger games. I think it's sort of like I said this when we did the sort of start of the season where we're predicting league table. Chelsea are the side that will go and beat City, go and beat Arsenal, then lose or draw to Burnley at home when you're expecting them to win, when they may dominate the game, but it'll end 1-1. So this is where I don't think you can say, yes, everything points to City being favourites, the momentum and all these sort of things, but it's definitely not an easy game, and I think this is definitely our toughest game left. But other teams, want to spoil the party. But Chelsea, hopefully, and I don't think they need it as much, won't be one of them.
We do. We need a statement win under Rosinia. That's what we need, and that will turn. There's a lot of negative sentiment at the moment because of obviously Port Vale's, great win, 7-0, blah. But we're expected to beat them, obviously, right? So putting that win out the window with 4 consecutive losses, which at any club in a relegation battle is ugly. So for a top side, someone again who's supposed to be competing for Champions League, to have 4 losses in a row is not good at all. And we're really at the risk of going. If you go, you've lost 5 in a row, and I know people may just not ignore the Port Vale game, but you kind of have to ignore it. 5 losses in a row is ugly. 5 losses in a row is suddenly like, is the manager going to get sacked? So I think Rosinia needs this as well, not just the club for the Champions League. I think Rosinia needs this more than anyone right now, just to turn that narrative around. Again, it's so early in his career to even start to properly judge him, but people are judging him because they think he's at his depth, which is harsh, but he has been thrown in at the deep end. If he can go here when we're under pressure, there's a lot of negative sentiment, and he can go and outclass and win against one of the best managers of all time, the whole sentiment changes. Suddenly we're back on for the Champions League. Suddenly Rosini is a great coach, and we know how fickle fans are, right? The whole narrative and energy of the club suddenly changes with this win. So a win would be absolutely monumental. Again, I can't say I'm confident at all that we're going to get one, but you never know.
So you say that with you said earlier they've got to get aggressive, but realistically, how does Rosenior do that? How does the student beat the master? What does Rosenior have to do tactically? Yes, we could say be aggressive, but what players does he need to look at? What type of play or approach realistically does he need to take? Because you can't be aggressive for 90 minutes. So what has he got to do to dig it out? Or is it just let the players do their thing? Is there only so much he can do?
I think it's a combination of a few things. The fans will be up for it because it's a big game, so that the energy in the stadium will be there. I think he needs to play Cole Palmer on the right in his arguably best position. I know that's a bit of a debate. I'd actually have Esteval down the middle, which I know sounds a bit rogue, but he will get in that middle. He'll create. He'll get in behind. He'll win fouls. He'll cause them a problem that they won't be expecting in the middle. You look at Rodri lately. Rodri's not been the Ballon d'Or winner. He's liable to commit a foul and give stuff away. You got like, get Rodri on a yellow card early. Like, get at their wing backs who Nunes again. Guys are centre mid and he's done okay at right back to be fair to him, but he's not the greatest player. Like, get at him early, get him on a yellow, get them a bit rattled at the back. I think if you don't do that, they're just going to pop it up to Haaland. Haaland's going to score, and the game's going to be dead and buried like the PSG game in 10, 15 minutes. I think that's the concern. So the wide attackers for me are where this game is going to be won and lost. And obviously, if we can actually defend, it would be nice. But I think that's the key, personally.
Jamie, what does
I
City need to do, and what shouldn't they do in order to get a result?
Well, I actually slightly disagree with Jordan. I think the key is the midfield. I think Caicedo, and I'd probably put Reece James there for you both. I think there's no Enzo, so you know that already. I think it's got to be them two, and you've got to tell them you don't press stupidly. You let the front four in front of them do that sort of big pressing if you want to go aggressive. But you need a bit of stability, and you need sort of like the holes that City want to play in with, I say, Cherky, with sort of Semenyo, Doku, that little holes they sort of create. You don't want them to be open up, and you see O'Reilly, he comes in through these little holes that sometimes don't get picked up by players. So a Caicedo and a James need to sort of go, actually, he's going to make this type of run, I need to pick him up. So I think the middle is the biggest key for Chelsea in this game. On an attacking sense, yes, you probably are going to do best by attacking the wings because O'Reilly comes out of position a lot. That's the tactics. I'm not saying on him as defensively. Nunes, I think you're a bit harsh. I think he's probably been one of the best right backs in the league this season. But yes, overall, I know what you're sort of saying. He has grown up to be a centre mid. He's now been pushed to a right back. So yes, you can get him, and he does make silly fouls. Look at the one on Szoboszlai in the FA Cup. So yes, you can do that. I, for City point of view, it's kind of watching out for this. What seems to be happening is the double up on Doku. When Doku's on the left, teams now are going, right, we need to put 2-3 players on it. You saw Real Madrid do it at the Bernabeu after about 10 minutes. They saw him take on Trent 3 times and went, we can't have this. Let's put a load of players over there. And we just need to make that extra man count. And I think we've been a bit slow at times to allow that. And I saw that even in the Liverpool game. At times, there was times where Doku had 2 players on him, maybe even 3. And you thought, right, if we switch this quickly, there's an extra man here free. And we just didn't do that enough. And I think if we do that against Chelsea, I don't think Chelsea, there's physically not enough people to keep up with that. Because I do think they will try and make sure he does not get a run at, well, I'd say Gusto being there. I assume he's fit. I've not checked on who's fit and who's not. But but if you leave Doku with Gusto 1-on-1 constantly, Gusto will get sent off. And the second yellow will be him kicking the ball away because he's stupid like that. That's how I sort of see it. It will be one tackle where he's taken out Doku, normal yellow. The other one he'll kick the ball away, something stupid like that. So for me, if you do not double up on Doku, give the ball to him, he will cause so many problems for Gusto.
Okay. So we touched upon it already. Okay, and again, the questions for both of you. I'll start with you, Jamie. What are the consequences of not getting a win? You could afford a draw, but what are the consequences of not getting a win for City?
We can't afford a draw. We have to win the last, we've got 8 games. We have to win all 8 games if we want to win the league. If we don't, the title's basically done, and the Arsenal game is just more for pride. Beat them for pride, and then you're sort of praying. You're praying that they have an absolute calamity where they drop more points than they have all season in these last 7 games. I don't see it happening. we have to win every single game for it. So every game is a bit of a make or break. I know Jordan said cup final. It is in a way because we're so far behind already. So that's why I think we really, really have to win. A draw at Stamford Bridge. If you say that at the start of the season, I'd be like, that's an absolute fine result. That's a good result. But at the circumstances we're in now, if we want to win the league for sort of Silver's last season and possibly even Pep's, we have to win.
Jordan, elaborate. What happens if you don't?
Yeah, I think kind of what I said at the start. I think a draw you can maybe justify and be like, we'll take it. But I think if we lose, again, it's similar to City, right? You can argue if City don't win, the league's done. But then if Arsenal go and lose, then suddenly it's back on. Do you know what I mean? So I see it in the same way where I think if we lose this game, we can kiss the Champions League goodbye. But then suddenly, if Villa, United, and Liverpool suddenly don't go and win, then we're still in the mix. But I'm looking at their games now. Villa away to Forest, Liverpool at home to Fulham. You'd probably back them to win that, and United at home to Leeds. So based on what you'd expect to happen in those games, I think if we lose, I don't think we get Champions League football. Which, as I said, for all the reasons we mentioned already, would be a complete and utter disgrace and a massive, massive step back.
So then, Jordan, let's bounce straight back to you then. Give me just one player that you need to have a big moment in this game and why. Just one player and why.
Palmer, because he's been quiet recently, and he's a big match player who can turn up at the big moments, and that's what we need to win the game.
And Jamie, what City player do you need to step up in this game and why?
It's got to be Haaland. I know he scored a hat trick against Liverpool, but he needs to. He's sort of not fallen off. I think that's harsh to say fallen off. But if Haaland's in this game and we're talking about Haaland having a good game, that means he's probably scored at least sort of one or two. So I think if he has the good big game, we win.
Cool. And then Jordan, give me one maybe prediction from you, not a score. One prediction. It could be a sending off. It could be a VAR decision, something that you expect to happen in this game from a Chelsea perspective.
It's going to sound really cynical, but I think we'll probably get screwed on a questionable decision. And I know me and Jamie will obviously disagree on it either way, but I think it goes back to my previous point about sentiment and bias. At the moment, a lot of negativity and noise around Chelsea being bad, right? Manager, players, Enzo. City won a trophy, pushing the title, momentum back on. We'll see, but that for me is the perfect example of where a 50-50 decision is more likely to go City's way than Chelsea's. We'll see it play out, in my opinion, but that's the way I view it.
And Jamie, one thing for you. What one thing do you think is going to happen in this game that isn't a score prediction?
Well, I might as well stick with what I said before. Gusto to get sent off, and maybe not the second, but one of the two, he will kick the ball away or argue with the ref. Something stupid like that, where he doesn't need to do it, and the other one he'll kick Doku or something like that in a normal sort of yellow card foul.
Cool. And then finally, from both of you, what are your score predictions?
Try not to be negative.
You need this more, remember?
We do need it more. We do need it more. 2-2.
Interesting. And Jamie, you also need this more, apparently. What
We need this
What's your
more,
score
so that's
prediction?
why I need us to predict to win. I think it'll be tight. I don't see us keeping a clean sheet, and I don't see them keeping a clean sheet. But yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-1 win.
Okay. There you have it. In 174 matches between Chelsea and Man City, Chelsea have 67 wins, City have 66. And of course, there are 41 draws there. And to add to that as well, Chelsea have 236 goals and Man City have 238. So it's a very finely poised game. But what do you think is going to happen in the big game at the weekend? Are Chelsea going to get screwed over by a VAR decision, or are City going to, run out comfortable winners against 10 men? Who knows? Let us know what you think in the comments, and of course, add your score predictions. Anything else that you think will also happen in this game. Like, share, and subscribe. As always, you know the drill.